can we start maybe with questions first, just to kind of get the ball?
Go ahead, Don. You had a couple questions.
So I was just curious. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about Untitled, a little bit. Just tell me a little bit about the process, and then a close second is the other Untitled.
They're all Untitled.
Yeah, they
Oh,
all.
there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you could just talk about those two big pieces in particular.
So most of my pieces, I consider them experiments, really. That's why I don't title them also. I don't have a very deep philosophy for all of my work. That one with the trees that Don likes started as a sketch on a Post-it note. And I just figured I wanted to make it orange because I had the frame first. So I'm inspired by random things, really, sometimes by the frames, and I'll mix the palette based on what frame it's gonna go on. Or that particular one at the beginning with the mountain and the rainbow going over it. I wanted to do a piece using William Turner's palette. So yeah, and it kind of starts very basic, and then the ball gets rolling and they turn into something I didn't expect. Yeah.
Well, sold. I'll buy them both.
Okay.
Truly, if you could, I'll take them both. Yeah, I just for the record, I collect his work, and he's my favorite painter in Southern Colorado. I haven't bought a piece of artwork in almost 2 years, so I've been saving up, and I just think he's. I was going to ask one more question, then I'll shut up. But so the reason I'm drawn to your work is many reasons, but one in particular is I'm obsessed with Max Ernst. And I've always felt like you were like somehow connected with him spiritually. And you don't have to make this fit the question, but have you do you know anything about his work?
I can see in my head his work, but I'm actually not a crazy fan, but I'd say isn't he surrealism? He falls into surrealism, which when I was a kid, I thought surrealism was the best art that there was already. Like, I thought you couldn't get any better than that. I've been a big fan of Salvador Dali, which everyone knows, and but my work doesn't look anything like that. So I had actually stopped caring about artwork, making any kind of artwork, sometime in my 20s, and probably about 10 years ago, I ran into this type of work that they call dark art. I guess I call it like dark surrealism, and that made me want to start getting back in the studio, start working again.
What other influences, artists influence you as far as your work? That would be.
Geiger's one of the ones that fall into dark art. Czeslaw Beksinski, do you know that?
Yeah, yes, I do. I followed him a little bit. The other question, you're too young probably to know about heavy metal or Frank. Rosetta. And Boris Malenko.
I know Frazetta, I don't know the other one.
Okay, I was just wondering because your work reminds me a lot of that.
I know the heavy metal magazine, so
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I'm influenced a little bit, just kind of all over the place. Even heavy metal,
Yeah.
rock albums, you know.
Yeah, now it's like juxtaposition and
Yeah.
things like that, yeah. All right, I understand.
So yeah, my influence is all over the place. I just kind of try to make it my own.
All right, I know. It is definitely your own.
I mostly just try to give a certain feeling, you know, with my work, but I don't have any deep philosophy really.
So when you start out, you don't really have an idea like, okay, I'm gonna draw this particular thing. You just sort of work with it and kind of go where it goes?
I have a little bit of an idea, like the leads are leads that I just kind of pick up in the street.
Okay.
this one that you guys bought, right? I started with a photo of my wife, and I just used the shadows on the face. It was a black and white photo, and then everything else was just made up. Yeah, and it's pretty random. Like I'll start very roughly, and then I'll come back the next day and I'll see this brush stroke I did. I'm like, oh, I can turn this into like, for example, sort of like this layer here, that in the mouth. I didn't try to do it on purpose, it's just kind of just random.
Did you have the frame for that oval one, the portrait, before the painting?
Mm-hmm.
You actually painted that to
To match it.
Wow, it goes so well together.
Yeah, I think
Is that your white too?
that's her as well. Yeah, doodle a lot. I'd say about half of my paintings are off of doodles too. I doodle during lunchtime at work. So most of my drawings, I don't do like a fully rendered. It's just post-it note, quick sketch. Yeah, just to kind of get the ball rolling. That's really all I'm interested in, just get the ball rolling. I feel like if I could have the finished piece, drawn initially, I wouldn't really be interested in painting. Yeah.
Like, for instance, this painting here, how long would you say that?
The dark one?
The skull?
So most of my time when I'm working, it's probably like 2 or 3 hours before work, and that's just one session. So I'd say 7 sessions of like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah.
You mentioned surrealism, and I was just curious, do you interpret your dreams, or do you have very vivid dreams, or do any of these come out of dreams?
No, almost not at all. I don't even remember my dreams anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a kid, I did have like I'd call early symptoms of astral projection. Have you ever read about that? And then it stopped sometime around 18, I think. Yeah, which was scary as hell, actually. Yeah.
Having the astral projection or it's stopping?
Having it.
Having it?
Yeah,
Usually
you're
right
weird
before-
sounds.
Right before you fall asleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you're like paralyzed, but you're still
And you
awake.
can't wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it happens to young people a lot, and then it stops.
I've experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't remember any.
I drink
Yeah.
It's easier that way.
Ramon, do you have a favorite painting in the exhibit?
The one they bought.
Yeah.
If I had to say one from a fire, it'd probably be that one. I just feel like I actually wasn't putting much effort into it. I did the painting before I got the frame on that one, actually. And I just feel like it was so effortless. I didn't put much effort in it, just turned out perfect.
Mhm.
Same for the leaves that I did as her dress were just made up, and they turned out so good.
It was very attractive to us. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
Did you do her dress in that pattern before you even knew that frame was gonna be on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's probably the only exception that I.
Yeah,
So I looked for that frame just to match it.
yeah, I was gonna say, it
Yeah.
was so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have the opportunity, you have your work up in one place, so you can see your body of work.
It is nice, yeah.
So, but how do you, when you say you don't have a deep philosophy about really behind your painting, so you can see it all up, see it as a whole? I mean, how does that? What does that?
I mean,
what does that reflect?
I do know that I'm drawn, to macabre subjects. I even had a lot of people during the opening tell me that they're dark and beautiful at the same time. So unconsciously, I think I'm attracted to that. But other than that, I have little ideas of why, but nothing really deep. And for the past like 2-3 years, I really tried to sit and think about it. and I just get a headache, and I was like, if I really figure it out, then why not just be a writer or a poet, you know? I don't want to stop painting. Maybe I would lose interest in painting if I knew exactly what I want to say.
When did you start painting?
Probably 10 years ago, and that's when I had discovered these dark artists that I didn't know was a thing, you know. I first thought surrealism was the best that you could ever get to. And I was living in Palm Springs, California as well, and I don't know if you've been there, but there's a lot of artwork in the downtown area. And that really made me start thinking about doing some artwork myself, yeah. But I've been drawing since I was very little.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a bit of a gap, and I got back into it. Yeah.
Well, I think you did a phenomenal job, Ramon. I think you're a very prolific painter, and it's exciting to hear like
Thanks.
a little bit about your background, and I'm excited to have you here.
Thanks.
What's your obsession with hats? You paint a lot of hats.
I do.
And women in hats, too.
I like painting women too. Yeah, a coworker always tells me why I only paint women. I don't know. Because they're beautiful, I guess. So beauty and darkness.
Is there something
It's
about
perfect.
the hat, though? Is there something about hats?
No, I don't know why.
Does your wife wear a lot of hats?
No, she doesn't.
Did you go to school to do any art, or do you self?
Self, yeah. Just when I decided to get back into it, just got a bunch of library books and yeah. I was actually gonna give this one a hat, and it didn't turn out right. And I put turpentine on a rag and brushed it up, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That reminds me of Francis Bacon a little bit.
Oh yeah, I like bacon. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ramon.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.